Hi, hello, hi. We're gonna rate some ceramic bowls today from the last firing that I've done. This one, I love the glaze. I love the red clay. It makes the bowl feel very like warm and like caramelly. So there's different sizes. This one's a little rounder at the bottom. And this one, I love how it like kind of accentuates my throwing lines. So it's like very subtle, but I feel like it's a little caramel like latte with like cinnamon powder on top or something. Also a pretty I would say medium-sized foot. It also flares out a little bit, so it's a little different in terms of profile. And they all stack very nicely. So I love these. I would say these are 505 for me. Anyway, this one is a very similar shape. It is the same glaze, and it is on white clay instead. I think it's like a buff speckle stoneware. So it's a little cooler in terms of the glaze. I also like how it like kind of flows inside, and I like the shape of the bowl. I have another size similarly. I also really like these. I think they're a great like fruit cereal bowl. So I would say these are all honestly 5/5 for me as well. And then I have a clear bowl, and I made 3 of these. So they're very similar in terms of the shape as the other ones, maybe just slightly bigger. And this one has a little dimple right here, or like a little blister. I think it's from the clay itself that like when I was throwing, I think there was like something stuck in there that I kind of try to peel out. But yeah, I honestly like how simple this glaze looks on these bowls. I don't think I've done anything with clear without anything painted underneath it. So I like the size of these. I think they're a great like snack bowl, cereal bowl. And these ones have a bigger foot at the bottom, so it's like flatter. And they stack like this. And yeah, I love these as well. I would say they're 5/5. Only because of my personal preference that I like bowls that are neutral in colors. So yeah, I love these ones. And I also made appetizer dishes. So they're a lot more shallow, with a smaller foot at the bottom. They kind of feel like a lid, but I have 2 of these guys. Oops. And yeah, I don't know. I think it'll look good with like hummus, some sort of dip, some sort of appetizer just on the table. Yeah, they're about the same size as the other ones in terms of the diameter of the bowl, but they're obviously a lot more shallow. Some other clear bowls, but these ones with a different profile has a much smaller foot and more like of a taper body in comparison to the earlier ones. And again, I think I made a couple of these guys, all a little different from one another. These ones are okay. I think they are a little too narrow at the bottom for my own liking, so it feels a little different in the hand than the previous ones I've made. So in comparison, I would say these are like a 3.5. I do still really like the glaze of it, and they just all kind of stack like this. I'm gonna ship them away. I have some like random little pieces that don't go in a set or don't go with each other. This one is a very taper bowl with a very small foot. Kind of feels like a lid. This one's also on a white clay. And you can kind of see the difference between the size and the depth of these. This one with a much bigger foot, this one with a much narrower foot. This one's okay. I think it feels like I can only use it for some sort of like dip or appetizer or something, since it's pretty shallow, but not as shallow as the earlier ones. This is okay. I would say this is a 3. A tiny little dish, maybe for soy sauce or something. This is also, I would say, in the same category as a 3. Same idea as the previous one, maybe just a little taller. And yeah, a 3. They're okay. I think they're like my experimental practice pieces that I ended up just glazing in color that I liked. But in terms of like the structural quality of that dish itself, not my favorite. There's these soy sauce dishes. They're okay. Like they're a fun glaze, but they turn out into like a yellow inside. And they're pretty small, so I feel like it doesn't really hold anything. They're okay. They're like a 3. Yeah, they stack pretty nicely together. They'll go along with the other dishes that are also for soy sauce. I made these little bowls. I think they're bowls. I don't think they're cups. I think they're a little too wide to be a cup. I thought it'd be like useful for like meal prepping when you cut like onions or like garlic or like, I don't know, just like things that you need to prep to put away. I thought it was like a fun little size to put on the counter. This one I have a clear on the outside and the other glaze I really like inside, so it has a bit of a contrast, and I like the way that it turned out. I really like it. Very simple, very neutral, very fun at the same time. Again, it has a pretty like big foot in comparison to the size of the bowl. This one it has like a very similar interior in terms of the like roundness. It just has a different look in terms of the colors of the glaze, but on the outside it has a bit of a facet at the bottom, so it kind of goes outwards and then goes kind of straight up. So it's pretty fun to hold, I would say, in terms of like the size of my hand. Yeah, I have a couple of these guys. This one has a different foot where like it's doesn't have like, I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't have an external thing on top of it. It just has like, it has a foot on its own, if that makes sense. This one feels like a foot attached to it. This one feels like it just has a foot on its own. So it also feels different in terms of the way that it fits in my hands. But it's a very similar size in terms of the other ones. And there's the last one. Again, clear on the outside, and then this other caramelly white glaze on the inside. I love these ones. I think they're a fun color. I think they're a fun contrast. I think they are, I don't know, I think they're just really fun in terms of like the 2 different glazes as well. So I would, honestly, I love them. So I would give them a 5. This is also an experimentation where I try to mix 2 different glazes together to make it like a blushy pink. And it doesn't really show up. It's like a very, very faint, like blushy pink, but it's not as even all around. And I don't know, just like fine. It's fine. It's not glossy either, just because I mixed like 2 different glaze, like I guess finished together. So it was like a satin and a gloss. So it feels, sorry, it was a matte and a gloss. So it feels very like different to the touch in comparison to like these glossy ones. This one feels more like a satin matte, satin gloss. There is also a little dimple here that I'm seeing right now. But yeah, I have a couple of these guys. These ones don't even look blushy on camera, but it has like a very, very faint pink underneath it. Yeah, I have 3 of these ones with a very like small foot. They're okay. These are like a 2 for me. They're fine in shape. They're fine, but they're fine. Oh, actually 2.5, I would say 2.5 for the color, for the trying part. And then I have these 2 little dishes that again don't go with anything else, but they're with this matte, satin matte, olivey color. This one, I'm pretty sure I tried to have a foot for it, but then the foot broke off or something, and I think I tried to like fix it by testing the color. It's okay. This is like a 1 at 1.5, and then like a smaller, again, appetizing like soy sauce dish with a smaller foot. This is also okay. This will go in the same pile. Maybe a 2 actually, just for existing. And then the same kind of realm, same colors, is this big bowl. This one is also an experimentation in the sense where I had added a layer of like chocolate brown matte glaze around the rim of it, just to see how it looks when it's layered with this other olive color, and it splits in a very interesting way, so that was cool to see. It has a pretty good size foot. This one, alongside with this one, which is the same thing, where I had the rim painted in a different color or a different glaze to see how it layers. They each have a ridge around the edge. You can't really see it because the glaze kind of covers it, but there's a ridge here, and it kind of reflects the inside of it. There's a ridge here, and there's also a ridge here. This one's a little more obvious, and the ridge outside. And I think I was trying to not fix it, but I was trying to like see how it would match up, the inside and the outside, and I don't think I did that well. So I think in terms of the size, I like the size of these ones because I think they're a good like rice bowl size, like dish size. But I think in terms of the form, it's not as comfortable. It's not as appealing to hold, I would say. So I think this is like a 3 for me. Good color. I'm glad that the brown kind of turns out with the olive. But it's like a 3.3. And then onto some blues. I also got this new glaze. It's like a matte kind of like robin's egg blue, and with the white stoneware, it turned out pretty even. It turned out real flat, really nice. Good to hold, good to touch. It's a little taller in terms of the size. But yeah, I think this is like a good, like maybe like a udon dip noodle type situation. And then the very similar one where it's like a bigger bowl. And this one has the same issue where it has a ridge, but at least this ridge here, or like a different in terms of the profile, it doesn't feel as unintentional. This one feels a little more like, okay, I threw the inside the way that I did, and so I matched it outside the way that it does, where it like kind of tapers and flares out. But I think the edge here could be done better when I was throwing it. But in terms of the glaze, I like how it looks. I like how it feels in the hands. This is a 3.5 maybe. 3.5. I have another one where like this one is the same as earlier ones, but this one has a crack here, so pretty sad. But this is a good shape bowl. I think the interior has a very like smooth interior. Yeah, I think I'll make more shape like this, but hopefully next time without the crack on the outside. I think what happened is I tried to fix the top. I think I messed up on the top part and I tried to trim it or like cut it, and I think it just didn't look good. They don't all stack perfectly the same, which is just my inexperience. Okay. And then these ones I had like high hopes for, but they didn't turn out the way that I thought it would turn out. I had a clear on the outside with a pretty good size foot. And it's like a pretty like round bowl. So I really like the shape when I was first throwing it. It's like pretty like, it's just fun to hold. It's like very round at the bottom. This one has a different foot than like this one. This one's like way smaller. This is not even a foot. And then there's this one. But the way that I didn't like how these turn out is because the edges are not as like defined. So you can see like some of these glazes bleeding over on the outside. Like this one is a little like more obvious, I would say. So I feel like it's not as like, again, it's not as appealing, I would say. It's not as like refined. So that was like one thing that I didn't expect it to happen. And another is that I was worried that the first layer of glaze would pool in the bottom and then it would become very like blotchy. So I painted the inside very like light, and I think I don't love the way that it contrasts. You can definitely tell that it's a lot lighter. But yeah, I think the colors in terms of the way that it flows, layer with another glaze over it, it's pretty interesting. I just wish I had done a better job in terms of the glazing. So these ones, in terms of form, I think I would make a lot more bowls that are similar in the size and form, just because it feels very nice to hold. But I don't think I would do this combination of glaze again. I think I'll probably do a different glaze and try out clear on the outside again, because I do like that contrast, similar to how the smaller bowls had looked before with the caramel color. Like, I like the contrast of this. But I think I would do a very different glaze inside next time, just to keep it very simple. This is like a 3. And then I have these ones, which also is an experiment, where I had a very like matte glaze inside, and I had put like an additional glaze over the outside layer, and it was surprising to see how bright it turned in terms of the blue, because the inside is called bluestone, whereas like a very turquoise, like teal color with like some brown undertones to it. But the striking blue on the outside was very unexpected, and how it drips is like very pleasing. I probably do a lot more of this kind of play to have more blues in my like portfolio of ceramics. But I think I wish I had done this inside and then this on the outside, so that the inside for a dinnerware doesn't feel right. Like, for it to be matte, and like it just has a different tactile quality to it, the way that the glossy ones have. And I think, I don't know, I feel like these ones would only be good for like snacks, like very dry snacks, like nuts or something, because I'm not sure how this would wash up in terms of, you know, daily use. I'm sure it's fine, only because like the outside of the bottle says that they're food safe, dinner safe. But I think it's just a different experience in terms of using it. So not a personal favorite. But I'm very surprised by the blue on that side. And I just have a bigger one. But yeah, you can see like how it breaks. It's very fun. This is like an experiment. I would say is a 2.5. You know what? A 3 for that surprising blue on the outside. This is okay. It's okay. This one is also very similar in terms of the earlier smaller foot bowls I've shown, where it's like taper at the bottom and like flares out on the outside. I think that's about it. Oh, I have like these ones, which I tried with hot water earlier, and I think they're a little too hot because of how thin the cups are. This is a satin matte white on the bottom with like a blue kind of layer over it and clear on the inside. So they stack really nicely and they feel very nice in the hands, but I would probably only use this for like sauce or something, or like like lukewarm water, or like room temperature water, because it was pretty hot when I put hot water in it. It just wasn't as nice to hold because of how thin, I guess, the cups are. These are, I would say, cups, but I don't know if I would use them for cups. Maybe another garlic, onion meal prepping situation. I like to meal prep. I like to cut things in smaller pieces and organize them and categorize them. I have some failed experiments. This one I had high hopes for, but after I like glaze it with clear, they all bubble up around the, like on top of all the painted areas. So it's a very sad experiment. It's like a disappointment, to be honest, because it clouds up in the inside. It's fine, you can use it for things, for food, for whatever. But I just don't like the way it looks. It's very bubbly. The yellow is fine for some reason. The green is also fine, but this one you can see it pools. And then this one also bubbles up a lot. But yeah, I like the size of these ones. I think they're a fun shape. I, again, don't know if this is a cup or a bowl. It's pretty small for a bowl, but pretty wide for a cup. I would do this with something elsewhere. I just need to figure out the glazing situation so that it doesn't bubble up over the underglaze again. This is like 4 for effort, like a 2 for outcome. I have some experiments that some turn out better than others. This one has a clear on the outside. It has a very nice pooling of glaze on the inside. Maybe pooling's not a good word, but there's some blisters here. this was one of my favorite shapes because of how it feels. It's very round. It's very nice to hold in terms of the size. Oh, this is not the one that has an issue, but I guess like the edges here has like a nice like caramelly bleeding of colors, which is really nice, but there's just some blisters on the inside here. There's one here. There's another one here, which I think it just has to do with the thickness of the glaze when I applied it, because this was like at the bottom of the glaze. But yeah, this was really fun. I would probably make more of this with a nice like foot. I think I would probably make this a little higher next time. But I tried to make a pair of this one with the other shape that's really nice. So yeah, this one turns out pretty good in terms of the inside. This one I had enough on the outside to do the same color, whereas like this one I had to clear on the outside because I didn't have enough. But it blistered really badly. There's a lot of like craters on the outside, and then it just was really bad in terms of the pooling, so it was really sad. For that reason, this is a 1 because it's unusable, or like a 0 actually. It doesn't pass. It's not a part of the categorization. But this one is like a good medium 3 and 3, 3.3, 3.5, 3. You know what? A 4 for the shape. I like the shape. 3.3 for the way that it turned out. 3.5 if it didn't have blisters. So I also have this one, which is the same color or same glaze inside. But this one, I put it away from the other two because of the lopsidedness of the bowl. You can see you get the kind of collapse on the one side, which I think just has to do with the weight of the clay or weight of the bowl and how unevenly I trimmed it. This is a 1 for how lopsided it looks. But 3 for colors. Good blue, good striking blue. Again, I think I would do this on the inside instead of on the outside. I probably wouldn't do this glaze on the inside ever again. It has one blister here somewhere. So, yeah. And then I have like one lonesome like bowl. This is like a 1 for how badly I threw it on the wheel, because you can see all the ridges. But like a 3 for colors. I layer like a teal on top of a brown, and it turned into this very nice like matcha chocolatey cafe drink situation. But yeah, there's just a couple of holes as well, so probably wouldn't use this for anything either. On the outside, I had layered another glaze with the same layer over it. So this strip here is the same on the outside and on the inside, and it also has a very different texture. A little sandier than the inside. The inside's a little warmer. Not a nice shape. It's a little shallow, more shallow than I would have liked it, and the inside just not that nice, but I like the shine. This is a 2 for colors, 2.5 for the surprise, but 2 for colors, 2 for shape. I have this one, which is very surprising because it looks like an ice cream. This color is the same as the outside of this color, like these ones. And then I had layered the inside of this color on top of this. Oops. On top of this. So surprising to see how much it dripped and like the way that it drips, because I had just like done it in one single band across the whole thing. But yeah, there's also blistering issues. And the inside, I think I had layered some other color with that matte color inside. And it's also just a very small strip, but I'm surprised at how much it dripped down and pooled. This is okay. This is like 4 in surprise. Like a 2 in functionality. It's probably gonna be in the test bowls piled. And I had another pair of bowls as an experiment where I had done this blue on the outside, which is really nice, and a clear on the inside, and it was surprising to see how much it kind of dripped down at the inside as well. I think I would have liked it just very defined edge instead of the drippiness. And if I was gonna use the drippiness, I probably would bring it down, but it's nice to see that it can drip when it's layer next to the clear. And it has like one of those like foot that is not an external foot, but like an internal foot, if that makes sense. This is fine. This is not a favorite shape of mine. But this is, I'm pretty sure this is very fun to like trim just because of the profile of the bowl. And I made a pair of this, but the other one had cracked all the way. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure how, because this is a very bad crack. All the insides also cracked. So if I like knock this somewhere else, it'd probably like break in pieces. But this one's fine. So this is like a -5 for cracking, for breaking, unusable. This is like a 3. There's no issues with this. It's just fine. It's just an average bowl. And then I just have a lot of eggs left. I try a new thing where I had matte on the outside so that it resembles like egg white and just like a clear on the inside. These two have like a dot in the inside, which I don't love. And they all are slightly warped. So I don't like that either. But yeah, they're just like the usual egg. This one's one of my favorite just because of how circular the shape is, and it doesn't look like it warped that much or at all. I think this is the shape of my usual bowls. They stack fine, but they are warped, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. I would say a 3. A 4 for showing up and stacking. There's power in numbers, but like a 3 for warping. That's it.